illegal miners have been reported in Riverlea in Johannesburg. We're taking now to our reporter Lopang Alamu, who's got more for us. So Lopang, what's happening where you are right now in Riverlea?
What's the problem, Puti?
On the line in just a moment, as you can see there, a bit earlier on, we were told that a confrontation in Riverlea between the police as well as suspected illegal miners has broken out in the area of Riverlea in Johannesburg. Now, this is, of course, in Western Johannesburg. This is an area, by the way, which has become a focal point for illegal mining activities, primarily conducted by groups also known as the Zamazamas. Now, we are also told that these operations have led to significant safety concerns, infrastructure damage, and community unrest. Now, in recent years, Riverlea has witnessed violent confrontations between rival Zamazama groups that have been vying for control over abandoned mine shafts. Now, these turf wars have resulted in multiple fatalities and have instilled fear amongst the residents, as you can hear in our coverage there with Lopang, what seemingly is some of the residents there adding their voice to what is currently unfolding now. And of course, the community has reported frequent gunfire and staged protests demanding government intervention to restore safety and order. Case in point would be the nearby Zamimpilo informal settlement, which is in Riverlea and has been identified as a hub for illegal mining activities. Now, despite multiple raids by law enforcement, illegal miners continue to operate in that area, reopening sealed shafts and compromising the area's safety. I'm told Lopang is now back on the line. So Lopang, what is happening there? I'm seeing what looks like a scuffle.
Ayanda, the visuals you're seeing now are some of the residents complaining about the lack of policing in the area. I'll just try to speak to one of Abomama here who were trying to protest. We've also just seen one of the protesters getting dragged into a police van, and so kulma no mama manje to find out what baba nikhala ngani ma.
Sisi nguthoza amala lapha ezampilo sikhala ngecrime la ezampilo crime iningi kabi and crime yakhona mawuthi uyayibheka ikhozwa ngamaphoyisa waselanglathi crime yakhona ukulwa apha bekulwa amaphoyisa naba abantu abasebenza ezimayini zamazama isizathu asazi bakwazi ukulwela apha thina sihlala khona thina silale with this mhlawumbe nobe ngabo 12 to 1 izibhamu zishema passage phezulu kwemikhukhu yethu sifuna ukwazi ubu safety bethu buphi kahle kahle uma ngaba thina sizokwazi ujikelezelwa ngamaphoyisa la si reporta kuyilanglathi ilanglathi yabuya la izokoleka ngobusuku la belwa nje babanga yini indaba zezamazama namaphoyisa selanglathi thina sicela ukuthi ngasichaphazeli thina singendawo sisebenza igolide thina ena icebe lethu sisasilifunayo thina ukuthi siphume la kulezampilo dala kuthiwa izindlu siphumile thina impilo siphila la ibhlungu mama abantwana bethu bahlukumezekile abantwana basakwazi nokuya esikolweni abantwana hlala sibizwa each and every day esikolweni ngendaba abantwana bethu ukuthi why abantwana beso sisithi story kubuza kanti ukhansela yena uphi na sicela nisisukumele bomama sicela nisisukumele sikhathele ile ndawo siyavota thina kodwa umsebenzi wethu wabonakala amavoti wethu wabonakalile.
There you have it, Ayanda. One of the residents here complaining about the lack of trust they have in the police and the amount of crime that takes place in this area. Just to get clarity on exactly what happened, I see the South African police spokesperson, Mavela Masondo, who can probably give us an idea as to what caused these tensions. Thank you so much for your time. Just briefly explain to us what happened here from last night, we understand.
Yes, our members were conducting routine patrols in this area on the main road when they spotted a Toyota buggy that looked suspicious with 3 occupants. So they tried to stop the buggy, but instead the driver accelerated. Then they gave a chase. So the buggy drove until this informal settlement went into a Zamimpilo settlement, and suspect jumped off. The police for the suspects. As they were inside, then people from this informal settlement who were in this informal settlement started shooting at our members. So then there was a shootout. Our members, obviously, they returned fire. We called for backup from our police officers to come in there. I remind you, it was dark already because there are no lights in this area. It was just after 7 o'clock. So we continued the search last night, but we couldn't find the suspects. In the early hours of this morning, a body was discovered in this area by a passerby. For now, we suspect that the victim or the deceased must have been killed in the crossfire of last night, but that is subject to investigation. Yes, so for now we've opened a case of murder for this body and an attempted murder for the shooting that happened last night.
We've heard the community saying they don't have quite a good relationship with the police, specifically from this area. I don't know if you've spoken to them and heard what they're complaining about. Yes,
there are quite a number of operations that we've conducted in this area because there is illegal miners. So we came with the provincial commissioner, we conducted the imbizos, we engaged with the community in this area. There are community leaders that are working with the police. So, but what is happening is that these people, the very same people that shot at the police last night, they are staying with the same community that is complaining today. So those people were in this informal settlement when they shot at the police. So we are appealing to the community to please work with us, stop harboring the criminals, stop harboring the illegal miners. If they've got information that can help the police to combat illegal mining, to combat crime in this area, please let them come forward and work with us. We are prepared to work with the community. As I'm saying that there are community leaders that are working with the police in this area.
Thank you so much, Mr. Masondo. That's Colonel Mavela Masondo of the South African Police Service. You'll also notice that it seems the community has gotten quiet, a little bit more quiet than they were earlier. What I'm going to show you now is where the victim is said to be laying. We'll try not to zoom in too close for sensitive viewers, but there's a blanket right there that's covering the body of the deceased. We've just heard from the police confirming that they believe that the victim laying there was hit by a stray bullet, so he was caught in the crossfire. The body was discovered this morning by a passerby. So the events leading up to this shootout was that the police were patrolling the area when they suspected a certain bakkie which had a number of men in it. They pursued the suspects, and shortly after a shootout ensued, which the suspects were able to run away from. You'd also notice that this particular area is it's an informal settlement, for the lack of a better word. It's an informal settlement, and what we just heard from Mavela Masondo is that this is where a lot of illegal miners come for safety. This is where a lot of them stay, and they also stay with the same community that's complaining about the high crime rates in this area. So we'll also just go speak to them a little bit more just to find out how they feel about the passerby who was unfortunately fatally wounded in this unfortunate incident. I'm going to try and speak to one of the ladies here who had quite a lot to say a bit earlier when we arrived here, just to see if she can't give us an explanation as to what their thoughts are on the number of crimes that happen here. Hi, Sisi. Could you please explain to us how do you feel about the victim who lays there?
because of maponisa la lagte a tlwaetse a tla mona nang a tlo koleka ditšhelete. After that, today ha sona le bothata ha batle ba tle ba shebile kwana nang ke ka ga ona ntho ba itse bang mara late ba tle ba teng mona ba tlo koleka hape ene le mo bana ha dithunya di keta o la zang ga bona le ponisa la lagte le fihla mona nang re bona fela o sena motho I wana fihla ho fihle maponisa go Florida mo a tlo lwantshisana mara bona ba ne ba siyo ba sa fihle ha ba ukwa go la dithunya kana ba tla o no se gona tsena re kwala tsela ba stopela because of retsa bothetho a rona re lwanela maphelo a rona jalo ka dithunya di fitile pela mahlo a rona jwanong no ha ba re tetele re kwale tsela re tse ntho re etsang go maponisa a Florida le ona a tsebo bitso ga tsebo tletla mo gone go kwale tsela.
Well, that's one of the residents saying that they really just want to be given the right to protest because they are currently fed up with the lack of policing in the area. Also claims of corruption by these police who apparently come here to collect money. Of course, we'll speak to the South African Police Service regarding those allegations. There's one gentleman who's in this particular police van who was dragged by the police a little bit earlier as he was accused of trying to start the protest. Butugunjani, bagbopheleni.
Lo ekomitlami ne lithe sibalindlela ngithi yini sibalindlela kanjani noma singathatha amathaya to the road. I never bought a tire. I bought it an actual. I bought a white yabupi airport mill inside. I couldn't stop me. So why should he lock me? And I need to ask him why you send. I ask. He said now you're not gonna be arrested.
No, thank you so much.
Sitting there, me I'm in jail. Me I must be my child here. No, it's not. Just stop it. I got to call.
Our apologies for the profanities, but that's one of the residents. He's the only one who's been put into the police van being accused of trying to start a fire with tires. We did see those tires earlier on. The police have managed to control at the moment. So that's what's currently happening here in Langlaagte, which is in Johannesburg. Another week, another shootout, this time in illegal miners. We'll just try go back and give you a sense of everything else that's happening here. The community is actually out in numbers. We also noticed some children here who look to be of school-going age. We'll try and find out what's happening there. But I think, Ayanda, for now, we'll take it back to studio as we try and get more information from the community and keep an eye on the ground.
All right, that's Lopang watching that story. And of course, you're chatting to Mxolisi here in studio, Lopang. And of course, Lopang is watching all those developments currently unfolding now at Riverlea. And of course, as we did give you a bit of context there around that area. And I think it was one of the residents who also said they were at the Zamimpilo informal settlement, which has on many occasions been identified as a hub for illegal mining activities. And this is despite multiple raids by police law enforcement. Illegal miners continue to operate their reopening sealed shafts and compromising the area's safety. Now, residents, as you've heard there, have called for the demolition of the settlement, citing its role in facilitating illegal mining operations. And of course, illegal mining has severely impacted Riverlea's infrastructure. Now, activities such as unauthorized digging have led to sinkholes, damaging water and gas pipelines there. And so much has been said around that. Notably, mining near gas pipelines has even raised fears of potential explosions there, endangering the lives of residents. But this is a live story. As you can see, residents have taken it to the streets. Lopang Alamu continues to keep an eye on it for us. We'll be taking you there as and when it continues to develop.